Here's an account online who shits out propaganda frequently, which is why they're not censored. This image represents a symbolic depiction deeply rooted in esoteric and occult traditions, merging elements of conspiracy, mysticism, and secret knowledge. The central figure with a triangle head, featuring a single eye, often recognized as the Eye of Providence, or all-seeing eye, symbolizes higher knowledge, divine awareness, and even the hidden control attributed to secret societies like the Freemasons or the Illuminati. This figure is dressed in a suit, symbolizing power and authority, while manipulating the earth. It's all capitalized, mind you, because they're promoting the same fucking agenda, which is flat out propaganda. Earth like a puppet. The strings attached to the globe emphasize the theme of hidden control or influence over worldly affairs, a concept frequently discussed in esoteric circles, alluding to an unseen hand guiding humanity's fate. You guys can look this shit up and read the rest. You're welcome for me reading that much, especially in the fucking retard voice. This is propaganda. Referring to it as the Illuminati is propaganda. Jesus fucking Christ. You could say having the right hand lower than the left hand is fucking propaganda. But what the fuck do I know? This kid has 1,000 people following this slop. Some of them are people I know, which is less than encouraging. In other words, this kid's doing quite well online because they're not doing the right thing. They're misleading people by example. Case in point, 2,000 people have seen this, which means this is irresponsible. And if the fucking internet would stop trying to think for me, it wouldn't scroll like that. So 41 people commented, 109 retards recirculated the fucking propaganda instead of thinking for themselves. Let's see how many people are using social engineering stickers, which means they're praising this propaganda because they're dumb. Very dumb. One-eye man leading the blind. Social engineering sticker, social engineering sticker, social engineering sticker, social engineering sticker. Yes, that's how I view it when people do shit like this. When they conduct themselves in such a way. Just as good as having a conversation with somebody and having them rattle off, one-eye man leading the blind. It sounds really intelligent, right? Then imagine if they just said this in real life. Social engineering sticker, social engineering sticker, social engineering sticker, social engineering sticker. We are not cultivating the best and the brightest, which is why people don't see this for what it is. The earth is level. Sure it is. Yeah, that's why everything perpetuates itself based on a level plane across the board in absolute. Think about it, for fuck's sake, you guys. If you've ever heard somebody squeal, cymatics! How does that work on a level Earth? How does that work on a globe? It doesn't. One last time. What the fuck do I know? Oh, right, I could teach you things you're not supposed to know. But I'm looking for people who can think for themselves and prove to me that they can. And instill a little bit of faith, that I could trust you with information that people are clearly not aware of. Because most people are fucking stupid, and they've chosen this path. Either way, poorly put on my behalf, probably, and I already said, what the fuck do I know how many times in this video? Been skating and stomping all over fucking Portland, Oregon. So, if you guys are thinking about the things that I constantly rattle off, there's a good chance that you might be frustrated because I'm not giving you exactly what you fucking want. And that's if you're new here and or you just weren't paying attention to begin with, because I used to spoon feed the internet answers. I know I'm a broken record in terms of all these statements. That's because we're not making any fucking progress. I would rather that not be the case, but apparently that's how it just is. It's up to you to change that. So when I said, if you're thinking about these things, there's a very good chance that you might be frustrated. Just know that the reason I'm rattling this shit off is because I'm equally fucking frustrated. Think about that. Here's a celebrity puppet to further what I last shit out on the internet. And a good question to ask is Bill Murray Jewish?
Specific moment in your lives you can pinpoint where art really has mattered to you and made a difference for you?
I think it would be back when I started acting in Chicago. I remember my first experience on the stage. I was so bad I just walked out and started walking. And I walked for a couple of hours, and I realized I'd walked the wrong direction. Not just the wrong direction in terms of where I live, but the wrong direction in terms of a desire to stay alive. And I ended up in front of the Art Institute of Chicago. And I walked in, and there's a painting there. I think it's called the Song of the Lark. It's a woman working in a field, and there's a sunrise behind her. I've always loved this painting, and I saw it that day, and I just thought, well, look, there's a girl who doesn't have a whole lot of prospects, but the sun's coming up anyway, and she's got another chance at it. So I think that gave me some sort of feeling that I too am a person and get another chance every day the sun comes up.
Think about this. There's a very good reason why our masters have turned most, if not all, things that you probably are spoon-fed and or privy to, specifically on the internet, in books, the media, what people are familiar with, what they have access to. It's all been turned inside out, upside down. It's backwards. Not unlike walking in the wrong fucking direction. And if you haven't begun to try to figure out how they manipulated you in the first place, or what I should say is that you are being manipulated, and then how are you being manipulated? Why are you being manipulated? Why has it been turned in so many fucking directions? Why? Why would that be? To befuddle you, to skew what does reflect reality. Why do you guys think that I keep complaining about emojis, the algorithm, how these social engineering platforms and the internet, respectively, how browsers have been modeled in recent times? Because it dumbs people down to such a degree that they do not recognize any of the things that I just urged you to consider. That's why they're doing it. And most people don't fucking care. Most people are not thinking about any of that. The last thing that they are is concerned with how things are going and why they are what they are, and that's the superficial shit. So how likely do you think it is, with all these kids that are talking about the occult online, how likely do you think it is that they actually have answers? That what they are circulating and the algorithm is permitting them to shit out on the internet, to echo in a game of fucking telephone. How likely do you think that is, that any of that quote-unquote information holds water and has not been corrupted, does not fall into this category, this broad category that I'm poorly painting, if you will? Slim to none if you think about it. But most of these kids are the ones that are going to tell you that, we live in the age of information and that they are enlightened. They are so quote-unquote social engineering woke because they're dumb enough to repeat what our masters leave online, including the social engineering buzzwords and jargon. Same difference, really. Phrases, jargon, buzzwords, etc., etc., etc. Another thing you do not hear people talking about. You don't hear it. The irony is that some of these kids will, they'll talk about MK Ultra briefly. They'll talk about the official narrative version of it, what's socially acceptable and widely circulated. But they won't talk about the fact that it has branched out, and social media, these social engineering platforms, and again, the browsers It's an extension of the MK Ultra sub-projects. Part of the MK Ultra sub-projects was to create what we are experiencing today in terms of this digital construct, this secondary means of communication. You know, we're all connected. Doesn't come up. People aren't thinking about this. And this is some of the most superficial shit under the sun. This also should befuddle you. It should piss you off. It should get your fucking juices flowing. It should make your blood boil. But people are being dumbed down. I usually say complacency got us this far. People aren't interested. They're disinterested. They don't have attention spans. They can't read a fucking paragraph, let alone analyze and interpret the words that are in the paragraph to extrapolate the information that it presents. It's a really flowery and probably bombastic way of putting it. People are dumb, so they don't understand what they're looking at, even if you tell them what's what. How do I usually dress this up in terms of unconstitutional taxation? Anybody? I used to say this a lot, and I know some of you who haunt my accounts have been around for a long time, but you're not putting in the time. You're not doing what I asked. You're just kicking back and cherry picking, which means you fall into this category of fucking idiots. I had another thought earlier. Just the same, in terms of unconstitutional taxation, it means that you are, in fact, the government's bitch. And technically, the government is a corporation. Technically, it's threefold. Just like the Trinity. Imagine that. You know, in terms of the trilateral city-states. And that's still a superficial version that most people are blissfully unaware of, which is why I complain about it at length. I have spent, mind you, wasted. How much time and energy trying to get through to people online, and most of the things that I leave online are purposely censored. They are censored, is what I should say. In stark contrast to all of these kids who are sucking the day's dick and echoing what our masters want circulated online. When you hear that we are connected, what was the other thought I had to this earlier? I had it, I'm trying to remember what it is. Oh, it's these AirPods and just the kids that have a cell phone, you know what I mean, plugged into their ear. It's like a little, I don't know what it's fucking called. It reminds me of a dongle. It's, I hate that word, but an adapter, so to speak. And they walk around with it in their ear. Not unlike how I would picture Star Trek in many ways. Most likely the next generation. We're connected. People are being, how should I put it? These things are being normalized to introduce man merging with machine. So that you become comfortable with these fucking yuppies strolling around with these digital or electronic or Wi-Fi connected, apparatuses as part of their being, as part of their character. It's part of their appearance now. It's part of their fucking wardrobe. People don't look at it strangely. People don't tell them, hey, that's probably going to fucking fry your brain, among other things. Because there are no checks and balances. In terms of you and I being connected, it is a fucking pun. And it is not in place to benefit us. It's to our detriment, in other words. We are connected to the internet. This is one of the many aspects of man merging with fucking machine. The internet is also normalizing this concept of you and I being one with fucking Skynet. You don't hear people bring this up. People are not concerned with what I just said, by and large. And yet, it's quite literally in the fucking jargon, the social engineering jargon, that was spoon-fed to us, people bought into, including myself. The internet was pretty fucking appealing when they rolled it out. It's pretty shiesty. I'm 43 now, and it's kind of neat looking back, because when I was born was the end of the age of innocence in terms of the realm that you and I are a part of. So I got to live in a time in between, the internet. That's one of the many things that I got to experience, and it's pretty fucking neat. I think back to my grandmother experiencing this, that, and the other thing, and the new fucking, social engineering agendas that were introduced and she had to live with and adapt to. And there are quite a few based on my age range, and some of you probably understand what I'm getting at, you relate. Today, kids are born into this, which means they are not going to systematically reject it. They probably don't see it for what it is, because they aren't concerned. It's already been normalized when you're born into it. Now is a great time to think of The Matrix from 1999, not simulation theory, not the multiverse of fucking horse shit, but being born into a system. A set, I want to say scale of parameters, in many ways it is, and not questioning it in any form or way. I know I'm kicking a fucking dead horse right now, and I'm hoping people actually see this video, but the chances are also slim to none. What the fuck do I know? Here's one of the numerous accounts I moderate on here. It's got 55 people in here, a whopping 55. There's 609 videos in here. Many of them are private now because people don't keep up. I've got, I think, over 200 in my Obsidian Monarch, but I'm still blocked on there because I posted something that teaches you about your body and how it works and how you could heal things and how you could avoid being a big pharma slave and quite literally fucking up the temple that you carry around that carries your light. But it was flagged as medical misinformation by the assholes who moderate YouTube, because the assholes who moderate YouTube are the same fucking assholes that I was alluding to earlier. And this applies to anything that is well-financed, well-circulated, pardon me. Doesn't come up, because it's been normalized. It's something that you take for granted. Most people view as fucking entertainment now, instead of using it as a fucking tool. And I'm talking about the internet, applications, all this shit. All this fucking shit. Laptops, computers, etc., iPads, pads, or whatever the fuck they're called. All this stuff. All the things that are available to you. These are all tools of propaganda to limiting degrees. It's up to you to think in terms of this shit, to try to recognize what's what, which brings us full circle to what I was saying earlier with people being blissfully unaware of, quite literally, everything that is pulling my strings, your strings, everyone's strings. Not for our benefit, but to our detriment. What the fuck do I know?